Good evening, everyone. Y'all know what time it is. It is time for ministry, where mental health and ministry intersects. And we're excited tonight, Dr. Francis and I. Y'all know who I am, Tanya Hutchinson, aka Lady T, to bring to you the sad sad
Mhm.
seasonal defective disorders. We're going to be talking about that tonight because we've recognized that a lot of us don't even recognize that we're in that space and time. And so I believe that when it is brought to the forefront, we have the tools that we need to overcome because what? We are overcomers
Yes,
through
we are.
Christ Jesus. That's the ministry part right there.
That's it. That's it. It has to intersect, and it always intersects. Even if we look throughout the Bible, there is so much on mental health, so many diagnoses, so many circumstances and situations that if we brought it into, today, that it will be considered a mental health disorder or a
Mhm.
mental health, situation that we can talk about and discuss here on ministry. So it's all throughout the Bible. It's all throughout
Absolutely.
the Bible. And so we just do our due diligence to make sure we intersect it here at ministry. And I am so happy to be here tonight. It's just a privilege and an honor to share the platform with my sister, the
Thank you.
co-visionary of this platform, and I am just grateful. And so this evening we're going to talk about SAD. It's SAD is seasonal affective disorder.
Okay. I missed something. I knew it.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. It's seasonal affective.
Effective. Okay.
Yes, and it's our effect matters. It the effect is it could be our mood, our emotions. What is your effect? What is your mood? And with the seasonal change, when we get into fall and we lose the daylight and
Mhm.
it's shortened. Our days are shortened, and night comes a little earlier. It can cause a disruption in our emotions. It can cause a disruption in our serotonin levels, where we, the lack of sunlight can lower our serotonin levels, and cause us to be more inclined to depression.
Right.
And so a lot of times, people don't realize, even if you have a cold, a slight sickness, a toothache, have you ever noticed that it gets worse at nighttime?
Mhm. Yep. Absolutely.
Everything gets worse at night when it's dark. And it's no, it's not a coincidence that we equate, a lot of bad things to darkness and to
Mhm.
night, because nighttime, with the absence of light, darkness prevails. And when
Yes,
it's
ma'am.
dark, do you see how this thing go together?
Yes. Yes.
And you
That's
never really think about it, but it's a reality.
yes.
Everything gets worse at nighttime.
I often find myself trying to determine if I should go to the doctor um before the doctor closes. And I'm like, okay, I'm feeling fine. And as soon as the doctor closes and I would have to go to the emergency room, then here comes the pain and it's worse. And I wished I had went to the doctor. So yes, I've experienced that that the pain gets worse when it gets dark.
Yeah. And with that, even your body, the rhythm, the circadian rhythm changes. The less sunlight we have, it
Mhm.
disrupts that the circadian rhythms in our body. And so that's why some people that, that are affected by the seasonal affective disorder, they get what we call light therapy. They get the artificial lights and they keep it around
Mm,
them to help their bodies get into the rhythm of having light. And that, helps their mood, it helps their emotions, because that light, it makes everything better.
absolutely.
It will
Absolutely.
boost the serotonin and melatonin in our bodies, those
Mhm.
neurotransmitters. It instead of disrupting it, the light can help, you know um, keep it in balance. It
Yeah,
could keep it balanced. It could keep it moving the way it should be moving. And that's why, it's during this season, during the fall and the winter, that we see a lot in the mental health field. We see a lot of depression, but it's just seasonal. It's just during this time. And, you have to pay close attention to your body, because sometimes you can miss, why is it happening. You can feel yourself going through the changes. You become less sociable in the wintertime.
mhm.
You become less likely to want to go out and do things, because it's dark, because it's cold, and
Right.
you don't want to do anything. But you don't let that take you into that depression state, without realizing this is just temporary. This is
Absolutely.
just this season, and you can counterbalance that with some positive things, like the light therapy, like making sure that you get up and get out of the house, that you socialize more, that you don't, fall into, the sad, fall into this seasonal depression. And sometimes,
Absolutely.
if we fall into it, it's hard to get out.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you're bringing it to my attention because my mother passed away 3 days before Christmas, and
Oh,
every
wow.
year when it gets close to the date of her death, I go through this depression, which I don't recognize. But my daughter always tell me, "Mom, you're going through depression," because I'm like, "No, I'm fine." But your body remembers trauma, it
Yes.
remembers hurts, it remembers pains. And
Mhm.
when we learn to acknowledge that there are issues that happen in our life that can cause us to have seasonal affective disorder, then
Mhm.
we can learn how to overcome it, like you said, light therapy, or maybe me getting out of the house and not sitting in the house
Mhm.
moping because of the way I feel emotionally.
Right. And so that would even be considered a anniversary debt. That
Hmm.
anniversary of that debt, um, that will bring about, like you say, your body keeps the score. Your body remembers the pain and the trauma. So on those anniversary milestones of that remind you of those debts or that trauma, your body will respond to it even when your mind doesn't.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
your body will definitely tell you that, this is that anniversary time. But there's things that you can do even to counterbalance that, so that you won't um go into depression during those times. Even if you don't remember it when you realize it's happening, you do things to bring your mood up. You hang out with family members, you go and do things that are fun. You put on some comedy, watch some funny YouTubes, watch funny TikToks, go to the movies and watch a comedy. Do some things that'll keep you laughing. Laughter is medicine to the soul.
Absolutely. Oh my God. Um, God is so intentional because last night, Monday was my mom's birthday, and last night
Wow.
I decided to watch some comedy. and I was laughing and I was crying, laughing, laughing until my tummy was hurting, and
Yeah,
it changed my mood.
it
Monday and
does.
Tuesday, I was down, right?
Uh,
And after I watched the comedy last night, oh my God, I don't even know what time I went to sleep.
yep.
So
It's
those are things that can change your mood.
absolutely. And
Mhm.
this is the therapy that I give to my clients. These are things that I give to my clients to do. And there's even something called laughter yoga, where you
Mhm.
just, practice laughing,
Wow.
and just, because it will help, those pleasure principles in your body. It will help, bring up those happy feelings that you have.
Dopamine. Mhm.
Yeah, the dopamine. And
Mhm.
just change the whole dynamics of the sadness to gladness to joy to elation. It'll turn the sadness to happiness. And it's not that anything changed with the circumstance of the situation, but you're changing your mindset, you're changing your emotions, you're being proactive, and not just reactive to it, intentionally doing things to make yourself happy, knowing that this anniversary date is coming up, knowing that
Mhm.
this, time of the season is coming up, keep you some, keep it on Comedy Central and just let your
Absolutely.
TV just play, on Comedy Central during this time of the year so you can always find yourself laughing. Watch cartoons.
I was watching Marcus D. Wiley last.
Oh yeah, Nat. Oh
He
yeah.
had me crying last night.
Yes. Yes. Laughter is really good for your soul. It's like medicine. It is a medicine. And I prescribe that to so many of my clients that suffer with depression. And it works.
Absolutely. I'm
It
a
definitely
witness,
works.
y'all. I'm a
Yeah.
witness.
Yeah. So you were doing therapy and you were self-medicating and didn't
Mhm.
realize it. But see, that's a good self-medication. Instead of
Right.
medicating yourself into, some substances or, drugs or alcohol or, whatever, you were self-medicating with laughter.
Absolutely. And then this morning, when I woke up, the scripture my eyes filled on was, "The joy of the Lord is my
It's,
strength." And
yes.
so basically that's where I've been all day, in the space of joy.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah, because he told, Nehemiah them, you don't have to be
mhm,
sad.
mhm,
Don't be sad. Let the joy of the Lord be your strength. And sometimes when you are sad, think about the goodness of God. Think about the things that he's done for you, where he's brought you from. Think about all the times that he was there for you, when you were at your lowest, when
mm,
you didn't see a way, you couldn't find a way, you couldn't make a way, but God made a way. That
absolutely.
will, put a pep in your step. And oh, my daddy really loves me.
Hmm,
My daddy really
absolutely.
cares about me. He's really concerned about everything that concerns me. Man, I got a testimony, something that happened on Saturday, but I just can't tell it yet. But my God, when I tell
Hmm,
it, oh my
when you tell
goodness.
it, I can't
Oh
wait.
my goodness. Yes, you gonna be one of the first. You gonna be one of the first. God is so awesome. But my husband taught me, he taught the church, you know, sometimes we share our testimony too quick and we
Mhm,
put it out in the atmosphere and the enemy fights it.
absolutely,
And
absolutely,
it learned me, I'm not gonna tell it until it's done.
absolutely.
Until the ink is signed, until the call is made, until
Mhm,
whatever it needs to happen. But I
absolutely,
already have a assurance, a blessed assurance that Jesus is mine.
absolutely,
I already got
absolutely.
that blessed assurance. So But it's that season, as darkness comes so early, and one of the things that also happens during this time, we be hyper, what is it called, we don't want to get up, we want to sleep more
Mhm.
than normal,
Mhm.
because of this change. And so
Yep.
sometimes it's hypersomnia is what it's called, hypersomnia. We just want to sleep and sleep and sleep and find ourselves napping all throughout the day, just sleeping and sleeping and sleeping. And that's a part of being depressed,
Mm.
always sleeping, never wanting to get out of the bed, just sleeping, thinking that we can sleep our troubles away, that we can sleep, our pain away, but we can't,
Absolutely.
because when we wake
No,
up, it's still
ma'am.
gonna be there.
Absolutely. And then when you talk about hypersomnia, not wanting to get up, that's when you have to fight the hardest to get yourself to move. You have to talk to yourself. That was a song that used to say you have to encourage yourself.
Yes, in the
Sometimes
Lord.
your
Yeah.
friend is not going to be there. Sometimes there's no one that's going to be there to help you get up out the bed. Sometimes you have to say, self, look, you've been here
Yeah.
long enough. It's time for you to
Mhm,
move.
mhm.
And you have that power within you. And don't let self nor the enemy keep you in the bed. I'm telling you, you're
That's
not
right.
dead. You're still alive.
Exactly. And if you realize that you're pulling yourself away from your friends and your family and you're isolating, that's another sign that you may be depressed. And
Hmm.
and you're isolating because you don't want people to realize that you're depressed. And so you
Mm,
pull yourself away in hopes that nobody notices that you're going through this. And sometimes we may not even realize that we're doing that we're isolating and that we're pulling away from people because we're going through our depression and not feeling ourselves or feeling super sad. Then not only are you isolating, pulling yourself away from people, feeling sad, sleeping a lot. When you're not sleeping, you're eating because you're
mm,
trying to comfort yourself. You're trying to find comfort in food. And this is the time that we gain extra weight during this time of depression, during this seasonal depression as well.
mm.
We put on extra pounds because we're constantly, grabbing for food and mostly carbohydrates.
Absolutely.
We're packing those carbs on, trying to, find comfort in our food. We can't find them in those cakes and
Hmm.
those pies. we
Hmm.
we ain't gonna find them in the ice cream. And it's
No,
it's
ma'am.
it's it's weird even for me. I'm not an ice cream person, but the colder it gets, I'll
Hmm.
crave ice cream.
Well, we sisters. Me
That
too.
That is so weird. I'm not an ice cream person at all. I can live without it. My husband used
Mhm.
to constantly buy pints of ice cream, go buy him one and buy me one. And he'll end up eating mine because it'll stay in there and stay in there. And then when I want it and go think about it, oh, you bought me an ice cream. Oh, well,
But
I thought you didn't want it. And he'd have ate it up.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I miss those days, but it was. I'm just never have been an ice cream person. But when I want it, I want it, and it's usually when it's cold.
yeah. It's fun. It's funny that you mentioned ice cream because during my time of grief, especially when my mom passed away, I was fixated on ice cream. Yeah, I was fixated on it so bad that it became a addiction, and it became to the point where I was eating 5 and 10 pints of ice cream a day,
Oh
and I
my
didn't even recognize how much weight I had gained. I didn't even look like myself. Y'all think I'm big now. I was huge.
I don't think
And
you need now.
my 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 daughter, my baby. she's so transparent. I love her. My baby girl, she was like,
Uh-huh.
"Mom." She showed me a lady because you don't recognize who you are. You don't recognize you have lost yourself. she
Yeah.
she she um she showed me this lady. She was like, "See, mama, that's how you look now. That's how
Oh,
you look." Because she was trying to tell me, "Mama, stop."
stop eating.
But that was the thing that shook me, that I'm like, I'm not, I know I'm not that big. I'm not. She's like, "Yes, you are, mom. Yes,
Oh,
you are."
wow.
So sometimes it takes the others around us to help us to understand that we are being
You're
what's
self-medicated.
self
Yep.
medicating, whether it's
With
food,
food.
drugs,
Uh-huh.
alcohol,
Yep.
whatever it is, it can become an addiction.
It definitely can. And and sometimes food becomes our best friend, especially comfort food.
Mm,
It comforts you, and it's comforting, to eat it. And we'll, if we're not careful, we eat our pain away, or even stress. Sometimes
mhm,
there's people that are stress eaters. The more stress they have, the more, stressful, it the more stressful it is for them, the more they're going to eat.
eat.
And the more
Mhm.
stress they have, the more they eat, the more weight they gain. And then, like you say, not even realize it, you be packed on those pounds. And it's just, it's easy to get them, but it's hard to
What?
lose them.
Oh yes.
It's
I'm here to tell
hard
you.
to lose them. I mean, just from when I was in the hospital in May, at the end of May,
Mhm.
I went in the hospital, and because um, of my blood sugar being so low, I had to constantly eat to bring it up. And so they would constantly give me all this food just to keep my numbers up. And of course, it would be stuff to get, my numbers up quick. So it would be healthy stuff.
Mhm.
Um, and before I know it, I had gained 40 pounds
Wow.
that
Wow.
quick, and it
Mhm.
was from being sick, not from
Mm,
being sad or depressed or nothing,
mhm.
just from being ill, and them trying to regulate my blood sugar. And it just was, I mean, just crazy. And now it's the opposite, because they tried to regulate it. They gave me this medicine, Jordians, to try to regulate, from it being so low, to try to
Mhm.
keep it balanced. And it makes me sick. Well, I can't
Oh
eat.
wow. Wow.
So I've lost 20 pounds doing nothing but can't eat.
Oh
So
my
I'm
goodness.
like, it's just like, Lord, yeah, Jesus, take the wheel,
Mhm.
because
Absolutely.
I'm up and then I'm down. I'm just like, God, I'm just in your hands, because I'm tired of, this blood sugar issue.
Mhm.
Is too low, and then trying to bring it up and having to eat to bring it up. But I did, I learned how to eat more protein.
Got you. Got you.
Eating more protein will help. The carbs was a quick fix, but it didn't keep it up.
Mm.
So learning to eat more protein. And so for a whole month, I ate eggs every morning for breakfast.
Oh wow.
Every
Okay.
morning, boiled eggs, two boiled eggs every morning for breakfast.
Wow.
Then I couldn't
Okay.
even eat two anymore. I would only could eat one. But and it wouldn't eat meat or anything. It'll just the eggs. Just trying
Gotcha.
to do something to keep my blood sugar elevated. And that could have caused depression with me.
That was
Because
gonna be my next question. Yeah.
it definitely could have, had I allowed it to. Because you're in perfect health, well, not well, in very good health, lost a lot of weight, and then all of a sudden I'm sick in the
Mhm.
hospital for 5 days, and and they wondering why I wasn't in a coma, which I'm
Mhm.
thankful to God. But
He's the key.
all of a sudden, I was sick, and I'm like,
Mm.
what is this about? And but
Mhm.
I'm thankful that God brought me out. I didn't have to get rehospitalized, and my numbers are much better, but I have to stay monitored because anytime it goes low, I have to make sure I do whatever I need to do to bring it back up. So I learned to get glucose gummies. It's hard for
Mhm.
me take pills. I hate taking
Mhm.
pills. But
Gotcha.
so I even got the glucose gummies that, I can just take 3 gummies, to
Mhm.
help bring it up if it gets too low. And then always keeping candy and orange juice, just
Gotcha.
to keep it. And but it could have put me in a depression, going
Right.
through this yo-yo, up and down and up and down. But I thank God, that I have learned to, do things to make sure that I don't fall into the category of I'm trying to help other people and I can't help
Mhm.
myself.
Absolutely. I And I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of times we don't understand why the elderly are in a depressed state and they look sad because they're used to being independent,
Mhm.
and they need therapy. They need therapy. I
Yes,
believe that
absolutely,
they need therapy
absolutely,
so they can talk
absolutely.
about those things.
Yes. And so that's
Mhm.
one of the things with the doctor's office that I have the contract with. I, would see a lot of elderly because they need someone to talk to because they're grieving a lot, not just the grief of sometimes losing a spouse, but they're grieving the loss of their health. They're grieving the loss of different, friends or family members that have actually, passed
Mhm.
away. They're
Mhm.
grieving their independence. They can't be independent anymore. They can't
Mhm.
drive anymore like they used to. They can't go to the grocery store independently like they used to. Some can't even live by themselves like they used to. And so grief is not just something you go through when you lose, a person as in death, but you can grieve the loss of your health. You can grieve the loss of your independence, the loss of of being independent, driving on your own.
Mhm.
Sometimes
Mhm.
they've lost their hearing or lost their eyesight, um
Yes.
and they're grieving, and so they
Yes.
need to process what they're going through. And I'm thankful for being able to do the geriatrics, because
Yes.
you're right, they definitely
Mhm.
need
Mhm.
that for sure.
Wow. Yes. Um, I I've experienced that in the insurance field where, a lot of them, they're lonely. They don't have anybody to help them make those decisions, and
Mhm.
they be depressed, they be sad, some of them be angry,
Mhm.
and it's a blessing to be able to speak life over them, to tell them these things that we're talking about tonight, what you're going through, why you're feeling this way, and that we're understanding about what you're going through. So didn't mean to make this about just the elderly, but it just fell in my spirit.
Oh,
A lot of
absolutely.
times we miss a age group,
Mm.
and the elderly are going through a lot right now with possibility of losing benefits and things like
Mhm.
that. So those are things
Right.
that can cause depression.
Oh yeah, and I think the more inflation rises, the more we go through as a nation, we're gonna see a lot of more people depressed with
Hmm.
the Obamacare subsidies being not being renewed,
Hmm.
and people's premiums are tripling, quadrupling.
Yeah.
um it's gonna be a lot more, you know. My practice may boom, and it's sad
Hmm.
that it would, but this is where we're at. And it's gonna get worse before it gets better.
Absolutely. But we just have to support one another as much as we can. And, you know,
Yes, and if
it's
you feel that it's over your head, that it's more than you can handle, reach out. There's 988. Call the crisis center. Speak to someone. Even text, if you don't want to call, text 988 and speak to someone through text. But get help. Help is available. Call the radio station. Get in contact with me. Get in contact with someone through your health insurance. If you don't have health insurance, Harris Health Center is available. That you can go to and get the help you need. Help is available whether you have insurance or not. It's
amen.
available.
Amen. So, wow, this segment has moved pretty fast this
It
evening, and
always.
I'm so excited for you guys who have been listening and who have been tuning in. Hopefully, something was said or shared that you can use to help someone else if it's not yourself. We will continue to come every week at 6 p.m. with Ministry with Dr. Francis Germany and yours truly, Tanya Hutchinson, aka Lady T, right here on Raise the Praise 100.com. And so, again, if you are facing sad, which means what it mean, Dr. Francis? Because
Seasonal
I
affective
did
disorder.
seasonal affective disorder.
Affective disorder. Yes.
Yes. So,
If you're sad, and the acronym fits, if you're sad and you
mm-hmm,
feel you're more sad than normal, you could be suffering with seasonal affective disorder during this time of the year. And if you notice it only happens during this time of the year, it's a seasonal thing, but it's help available for you. And it is a clinical diagnosis that you can receive, but you can receive help. You don't have to
absolutely,
suffer in silence and you don't have to suffer alone. We are available.
absolutely. If you need to reach out, you can email us at raisethepraise100 at gmail.com, or you can message us on RTP 100 Houston on Facebook and YouTube. You can message us, and also at our personal pages. I am Tanya Hutchinson and Dr. Francis Germany. You can message us
LPC.
via Messenger. Thank you so
Amen.
much again for tuning in. And guess what, guys? We will see you next week for ministry.
Yes.
Love you
And then,
guys.
yes,
Mhm.
and turn back in at 7 p.m. for covenant marriage.
Yes, covetous marriage segment coming up, you guys. That's for the married ones, the ones thinking about getting married, the ones who have been married, didn't work out so well. We want you to have healthy marriages. So tune
Amen.
in at 7 p.m. with Apostle Lydia Torres, Dr. Francis Germany, and yours truly.
All right. See you guys. Love you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.